this is Shel C from Paper Rock TO Studio, and today I'd like to share with you a canvas that I made, a mixed media canvas. I wanted to play some more with that bleeding tissue by Spectra. I used it on an art journal page and I just wanted to mess around with it some more. And so I decided to make what I thought was going to be an abstract canvas. I also wanted to play with texture. Putting the tissue on there is going to give texture, but then I also wanted to use heavy gesso to um, make some more textury stuff. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I just wanted to make something that had texture, and I wanted to try out more things with this tissue. So I cut off a few pieces of the tissue in black, turquoise, light green, and dark green, and then I cut them in circles, and I started to stick them down using the heavy gesso in white. This is a Art Basics by Finalizing product. It's just heavy, chalky gesso. It's thick. And I'm using a metal art knife, spatula type thing, and I'm just loosely placing them down. I know that the gesso is going to suck the color out of the tissue, but I'm just not really sure what the final result will be. It's really just an experiment, and I'm having a lot of fun just spackling them on there. It's kind of like doing a wall repair a little bit. I don't know. And I'm trying to randomly rotate the colors so there's not a big color splotch in one area, but the variety of the colors. In hindsight, I wished I hadn't used the black because through the entire project it was distracting me. It was too dark. It didn't bleed a lot. It didn't turn gray like I expected it to. It turned, it stayed dark. So I wished I wouldn't have used it, but it turned out fine in the end. So then when I was doing this, I realized that it will drip if I just put a little water on it. That tissue isn't so sealed in by the gesso that I can create drips, which I love drips. Drips are cool. So I decided to go with that. And I was just letting it drip down, and then I dried it really good. And then I decided I needed a little bit more dripping. So I had those excess pieces that I had cut off from the tissue when I was making it into these random circles, circle-ish shapes. And I said, hey, let's find out if I can make that into some sort of an ink. And so I just wadded them up onto my palette and I sprayed it with a little water, and then using the metal spatula I just squished it and squished the water out, and then picked up the water that's now tinted with the color with a pipette. That actually worked pretty good. Um, I'm guessing this is just kind of a watercolor that's trapped inside a paper pulp. I'm not really sure how they make this, but I was having fun. I was, just dripping down the canvas with my different colors and using those excess pieces for something besides just saving them for later or whatever. I'm not sure what I thought I was going to do with them, but yeah, that was pretty cool. The black worked really well. The lighter colors obviously are lighter because how much can I really squish out? But excuse me, I had to yawn. Sorry, this is so boring. I don't know why I'm yawning. I think I need a nap. Anyway, so I just kept doing that, and if the pipette created little bubbles, like in that one area right there, I just left it because I figured this is all circles, and so more circles would be fine. So then I got the heavy gesso back out and I decided to make some white circles. And as I was making them, you know, with the palette knife, I was squishing them around. I realized that they're kind of like flowers. And this is when I got the idea that maybe this was a flower canvas because I had those vertical lines going down from the dripping, which kind of looked like stems. And then with these kind of rosette looking blobs of heavy gesso, I'm like, oh, maybe this is supposed to be flowers. Maybe they're abstract flowers. So decided to go with that. And you know me, I can't leave white space, so I had to fill in the little places on the side there with a little bit more of the drips. But more white space would be better in my art. I just can't seem to do it for some reason. You wouldn't think that would be that hard, but it really is. And it's not just for me, it's for other people too. And I'm just doing a little bit more fussing here, adding a few more little places of gesso. And then I leave this to dry for a couple hours because I had to go do something. And then when I came back, I decided that I was going to add some texture type stems as well. And I have this bottle that has all different types of little tips, and I've used it other times, and it has, I believe it's the Art Basics by Finnebear soft texture paste, light texture paste. That's what it's called, light texture paste. And I put it in this bottle a while ago, and then I just squeeze it out with these little metal tips. And that first one that I was using was pretty fine, and I decided I wanted a little bit thicker one. So I put the bigger one on. I had a little trouble with it. It had gunk in it that I hadn't cleaned out, I guess. Although I do carefully clean them, but I had to clean it, so I cut that part out. But then I'm just putting on some more of these lines that are supposed to be stems for my flowers. And then I decide at some point, if there's stems, then there's leaves. So I put on a few leaves as well with this texture paste. You know, this is the stuff you would usually put through a stencil, if you don't know what I'm talking about. You know, you squish it through the stencil to make dimension. Only I'm just drawing with it with a fine tip type of an applicator. So once this is done, it's all pretty wet. And I leave for a couple days and go up into the mountains to visit. And when I come back, it's still on my desk. And the interesting thing is that where the texture paste is, all the stems and leaves, those have absorbed the bleeding tissue. But the gesso did not particularly. I mean, it's not as white as it was, but it didn't suck up a bunch of the tissue color, which is what I expected it to do. I guess it's not wet enough. I don't know, but so now I have these dark stems and lighter flowers. So I decided I better try to do some excluding and paint in the background to try to make the flowers come forward, because I thought I was going to leave them white. That was my original plan, was to leave them white. And so I'm using I've got some saffron yellow Liquitex Basics paint, and then I've got raw umber and quinacridone gold and a little bit of titanium white from the Decoart's fluid media line. I think I've also got yellow ochre, maybe, I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm just using mixtures of those to paint in the background all around the canvas. And this took some time, so I cut some of it out. I didn't figure I needed to see every single second of it. And still trying to push back those black spots, which, yeah, they were very distracting. I wished I hadn't used the black tissue. But I just continue doing this. I'm trying to fill it in. I'm trying to make the white flowers stand out, and also the stems, but the stems are all different colors because they've absorbed the tissue. And so I don't know. I was frustrated at this point. I was seriously considering just gessoing over the whole thing and calling it dumb. Dumb and done. I don't know. I was thinking about it. But I decided to keep at it, and so I lightened up a few areas with my finger with some white gesso, just because, you know, you need to have variation of color, and I was trying to lighten up those black spots, and so I was just applying a little bit of gesso here and there and blending it in with those yellow tones, yellowy orangey tones from the acrylic paint. And it looks abstract at this point, but it's not that cool. Not that cool at all. So I decided I'm going to use my Derwent Inktense pencils, and I'm going to color in the leaves to make the leaves green, because I thought, okay, maybe if the leaves are green, they'll stand out more. And so I'm using a light green pencil and then my water barrel brush to blend. And then I decide, well, maybe I'll put some turquoise in the flowers, and maybe that will help. So I looked for a pencil, but I don't seem to have a turquoise pencil. So then I got out my Neocolor 2 crayons, and I found this one that's like kind of a phthalo blue type of a, not exactly turquoise. And that helped a little bit. I thought, do I want every single flower to be blue, though? Because now they're looking pretty blue. They're not white anymore. I thought maybe I was putting in blue shadows, but I really wasn't. I was coloring the whole thing blue because I was blending it with my water barrel brush. So then I thought, no, I'm going to add some other colors. So I used a magenta colored crayon, and that looks pretty good. It kind of coordinates. Teal and magenta go pretty well together. So it's getting better. It's getting better. A little bit better. And I still keep trying to use that light turquoise one, but it's not. It's too light. You can't even see it, because a lot of the turquoise tissue is showing through on those. And then I decide if 2 colors is good, 3 colors would be better. Oh, and I'm using some gesso over the top of them too as I'm blending each one. I'm blending over the top with gesso just to kind of add highlights at the same time. Just using that same water barrel brush. I used it through the whole thing. But I decide I need a 3rd color. And so I think about it for a while, and I decide orange, because that background is pretty warm and orange is a warm color. So decide to throw in some orange. And so I end up coloring all the flowers in this manner. Different colors for each one, but going through, scribbling on them, blending with the water, and then adding the gesso over the top. They're starting to look a little bit more like flowers now. But those black dots still driving me crazy. And you can't really see the leaves, so I was trying to maybe lighten them up a little with some gesso. You can see just from my hand movements that I was getting a little frustrated. So then I decide, fine, if those black dots are going to be there, then I'm going to go with my Stabilo All pencil, and I'm going to do shadows around everything. And in that way, I don't have to compete with those black dots anymore, because there's going to be a lot of black. I actually liked this, how this turns out. I actually like it. Up to this point, I didn't really like it. But I decide to go around each sides of the stems, all the leaves, all the flowers, and use a black, kind of a watery black outline. Obviously, I'm blending it with the water barrel brush to, blend it out. But so it's not a hard line as if I had went with my Posca pen around everything. It's more soft than that. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. I'll probably cut some of this out because this took a long time. The entire project took 2 hours, 34 minutes based on the footage, and I've sped it up to 20 minutes, a little less than 20 minutes, I think, by the time I cut a few things out that were repetitive and stuff like that. So you're welcome. I have no patience, so therefore I assume no one else has patience. So in the end, the whole canvas has dark shadows. Black, in fact, not just dark. Black, black, black. Even the insides of the flowers, I add a little bit in the insides of the flowers. And that gives them a lot more dimension. They are textured. If you were to run your hand over the thing, it has a lot of bumps and creases, and everything is very, very textury. It's just hard to see that on a video. Even in this close-ups, you can't see it very much. I tried to take, from an angle at the side. So you'll see that in the end. So yeah, if you guys like this project and you like this video, be sure to give it a like, thumbs up, comments, ask questions, whatever you want. And of course, subscribe. I'm planning on having some sort of a giveaway when I hit 1,000 subscribers. And I think I'm close to 900 or something. So that'll be fun. I'll probably make something and give it away. I'm not sure exactly what my plan is, but I see everyone else on YouTube give stuff away when they hit a milestone, and I think 1,000 people it's a freaking milestone in my opinion. I never would have imagined in a million years that many people would be interested in what I'm doing. So hopefully I will get there. It seems like I'm going to, because the numbers keep going up. They don't stop, so I hope so. But the more that you guys comment and like and subscribe and all that stuff and share, the faster it goes, because that's just how YouTube works. They say, oh, this person has something interesting. Well, we'll tell other people about it, and then that's how everything grows. So anyway, enough about YouTube. I added some more white gesso in the background again with my fingers, still trying to kind of push back those black dots. But since all the black outlining is there, you don't see them. They're not like, you don't look at it and see black dots. You see other colors. And then I decided to add a little bit of yellow through the centers of the flowers. And so I put that in with a watercolor crayon there, and then blended, and then kind of put a little bit of white gesso over the top with my finger. Then, of course, the splatters. Can't have mixed media without splatters. I think it's a rule. I'm not sure. And then I decided to go back in and try to intensify those pink ones a little bit with the crayon. And I guess I did the blue ones too. Maybe I did the orange ones. I can't remember. But anyway, here's your close-ups. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.